Here we go. Hello? Hello?
Did I scare you?
Yeah, you did. I guess I deserved it, huh? The fart face that I am.
Maybe. Then again, maybe you're not so bad. Just annoying.
Uh-huh. So, you got any other things planned? I think I saw a dark room back there you could lock me up in.
No. I think you've had enough. For now.
Well, that's reassuring.
Besides, I need your help finding Mary. She's here. Isn't she? Come on, tell me.
I wish I knew.
But she said it in her letter.
String
Wait.
center.
So there really is a letter?
Oh. Yeah. Want to read it? Just don't tell Rachel, okay?
Who's Rachel?
She's our nurse. I, took it from her locker.
A little classical passage.
My dearest Laura, I'm leaving this letter with Rachel to give to you after I'm gone. I'm far away now, in a quiet, beautiful place. Please forgive me for not saying goodbye before I left. Be well, Laura. Don't be too hard on the sisters. And Laura, about James. I know you hate him because you think he isn't nice to me, but please, give him a chance. It's true, he can be a little surly sometimes, and he doesn't laugh much. But underneath, he's a really sweet person. I love you, Laura. I love you like my very own daughter. I wish things were different. I wish we could be happy together, like we talked about. Even so, I know you will have a good life. You're a strong, smart, beautiful girl. Happy 8th birthday, Laura. Your friend, Mary.
Laura. How old are you?
I turned 8 last week.
That means... Mary couldn't have died 3 years ago.
Tension in the soundtrack.
Could she really be here? Is this the quiet, beautiful place she was talking about?
Me and Mary talked a lot about Silent Hill. She even showed me all her pictures. She really wanted to come back. She also talked a lot about you, you know? She even...
What? What is it?
Well, there kind of was this other letter. I think the one was for you. The envelope had your name on it.
Did you read it?
I wanted to. This one time, I almost did. Figured you didn't deserve to have it. But then I thought, Mary wouldn't want me to keep it from you. So I just sort of kept it for you. Here.
It's empty. Laura, there's nothing in it.
What? But I didn't take it. I swear.
Well, where is it then?
I must have lost it. I gotta find it.
Laura!
All right. We're going to take a moment to talk about that scene and the music played during it. Okay. Laura plays the piano. I talked a little bit about this when we heard it earlier in the game, in the one of the first scenes that we have with Laura.
Oh, Laura. Oh, anyway, we gotta talk about Laura plays the piano.
After you get out of the other world, after Blue Creek, you meet her on that ledge, and in the original game, there's just a kind of like ambiguous atmospheric piece playing during that scene. In the remake, they decided to use Laura plays the piano in that scene, in addition to this one, to use it as more of a theme for Laura in the game, because theme of Laura, especially over the years, has become more of just a general theme for Silent Hill 2 as a game, rather than it being specifically a theme for Laura as a character. Particularly because the only time you hear a theme of Laura in the context of the game is during Angela's final scene. So even in the original game, it didn't really function as a theme for Laura, really. But Laura plays the piano. I talked in the previous video about it having this kind of classical feel, especially when you get to this passage that's like doing the... To me, that evokes, it's a Mozart piano piece. I can't remember, I think it's like Opus 21 or Opus 16, something like that, that has a section that starts off with a... It's a very classical vibe that this whole, like, thing gives. Present in the original version of the song and the new version of the song. A lot of things I think I'm going to talk about are the differences between the original version of the piece and the new version of the piece, because there is a lot more material in the 2024 version. We get this... well, first of all, let me talk about how Cleo and I have talked about this with the idea of Laura actually like playing the piano. Maybe she's learning to play the piano as a child. It kind of introduces this idea of even more of a connection between her and Mary, either because we know that Mary played the piano, and either Laura also played the piano and that was a way for them to connect when they were in the hospital together, or maybe she started to learn the piano because Mary did. Then, on top of that, we get all this added material in the remake version of this piece, where we get a lot less of the synth layers, which again I think is a choice they made with the remake, so to let the scenes that these pieces are playing over breathe a bit more. When you've got all those like synth layers and stuff, then there's a chance that you're going to distract from the acting and storytelling going on in the scene. But if you keep it to just this piano and like those slight strings that come in at certain points, it perhaps underscores the scene better. And again, so many of the choices they made with the soundtrack in the remake, I think, were made because they could be more intentional with it. And so that's why we have these more stripped down arrangements for pieces during the scenes, the cut scenes that we have. And it's also why we have a lot more material in this piece, Laura Plays the Piano, because if they just looped it the way, if they just used the material from the original, they would have to loop it a bunch of times, and you just probably get sick of hearing the over and over again, or the and so we get that. We get this first melodic part of the theme. Or actually, yeah, I can do. We get that a few times, then we get the. And then we get this. I'm pretty sure this is the chord playing there. We're in C minor, and this is in the A flat major 7 chord, which gives this very kind of wistful feeling. Major 7th chords often have this kind of nostalgic vibe, or this feeling of like kind of drifting off or recalling something. And then we get some repeats of material we've already heard. The second time that chord comes in, it's got these additional strings, the kind of like cello in the bass. I wish I had talked about it a little bit more before the scene, but similar to the way I talked about After Daddy in the previous video, the way that the music falls in the scene is very intentional about what emotional beats are happening in the scene, where like the strings get introduced, I think, as Laura is like, oh yeah, I have this letter, the first one that she gives to James, and then the little classical passage that starts as the letter starts, and then it starts to it continues, and the piano starts to slow down as they get to the end of the letter, and it's almost not there to let that line that Mary says, "Happy 8th birthday, Laura," really stand out. And then we get new material that isn't in the original. We get this moment of, I've talked before about how piano on its own, without any effects on it, is kind of very vulnerable. And in this moment where James reads "Happy 8th birthday," and he asks Laura, how old are you? We don't have any bass notes or harmony or any other instrumentation. We just hear these notes that almost sound like a question themselves. I remember ages ago when those like online master classes were a big thing. There was one that Hans Zimmer did that I saw a bunch of ads for, where he talks about how a lot of like melody writing or thematic writing and composing is about like question and answer. Like he gives an example of like there's your question, and then there's your answer. Thinking about it in terms of a scale, if we're in C minor, the first, third, fifth, and octave are going to be the most stable notes in the key, or in the chord. I think I've talked about that before. And anything else is going to sound like it needs to resolve somewhere, and I just unwittingly created a chord that wants to resolve back to C minor. So the fact that we get, it's the third and the fifth, but we have no bass note, and so it feels a little unstable. And then we get 2 and 4. Neither of those are in the main chord, and so they have this feeling of being like a question, like what is actually going on here. And then as Laura reveals to us, oh, I just turned 8 last weak. And James realizes, wait, Mary couldn't have died 3 years ago if she was alive long enough to wish Laura a happy birthday. We get this moment of tension. It's like we're still got this, it's almost this like, it's going back to the A flat major 7 chord, but we've got this G in the bass creating the tension. Or is it, yeah, I think the G is in the bass, which in the minor key, or in any key, the fifth, if we're C minor, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the fifth scale degree, the chord built on that scale degree is going to be is called the dominant, particularly if you're in a major key, because you get, in a lot of classical music, even when they were working in the minor, they would often replace the 5 chord with a major 5 because it has that feeling of that needs to resolve to the 1 chord, the root, the tonic, as it were. And so we get this moment of tension where we get the 5th scale degree, the dominant, with this melody over it. First of all, we've got all these little half-step relationships, if I'm remembering those notes correctly from what we just heard, creating a lot of tension. And then the fact that it's all over this kind of like bass note of G, the dominant. It's like we're longing for some sort of resolution, and we aren't getting it until Laura starts to talk about the other letter, and we get this which the first time I was listening to the track today, and I was like, that almost sounds like the opening, or not the opening chords, the final chords of the Moonlight Sonata, in a different key, obviously, but the Moonlight Sonata ends with this very dark, like, and over these chords, and Laura plays the piano, we get those question notes again, the is like a C minor add 9, and it's just a very ominous way to suggest, like, oh, there's even more here that James and Laura don't realize, and it's James has been giving this moment of hope almost, but then it's complicated by these tension notes, and then the fact that we've got this dark chord of almost finality, almost maybe it's foreshadowing like the truth that James is going to learn, and he can keep questioning, but it's ultimately not going to turn out well for him. That is kind of my like off the cuff thoughts on that, because I was listening to the piece right before stream, and I was trying to think, okay, what could it mean, these chords playing there? And I think it is kind of foreshadowing what James is going to learn, even though he's been given this moment of hope, like, oh, maybe Mary really isn't dead. He already knows at this point that he's been having weird memory issues, particularly the way that they played in the remake, because he has like the moments in Rosewater where Maria asks him, like, oh, is this your special place? And he's like, I think, but there was something else. And then she steps in front of him because he's about to look across the lake, even though it's foggy. There's a chance that he's going to see the light, or remember, like literally and metaphorically see the light and remember, oh, the hotel, that was our special place. And so Maria steps in front of it, and it's like, nah. Forget about that. You're here with me now. But we're starting to get these indications in the soundtrack of the dark truth that James is going to learn. There is one last thing to explore here. So here's the piano that Laura was just playing on. And we can play it ourselves. And what can we play on this piano? It's the Magdalene theme, Mary's theme that we heard all the way back on the jukebox, back at the beginning of our journey. And here's a piano for James to plunk out the notes on.